first of all, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a little indifferent with my diagnosis.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So, I believe that I'm being misdiagnosed.
Okay.
And I have an opinion from another doctor, or at least I did have, if the medical records are actually honest, which I'm working on getting some medical records.
Uh-huh.
They should be here within maybe the next 30 days or so. But
Okay.
I had a female doctor give me a different opinion. And you know
Okay.
what,
Yeah. What?
Mr. Wilder, you know, when they first diagnosed me as having schizophrenia, they didn't really have enough. I don't think they had really enough evidence to support their theory.
Okay.
And what that really meant was at the time when they first diagnosed me, uh, there were a lot of problems in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually homeless and jobless and struggling to stand up at work.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know this also, Dr. Wilder, but I have a huge spinal problem.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I got like my I think it's my number 4 or number 5 lumbar has
Uh-huh.
absolutely no disc in it whatsoever.
Mm. Okay.
It's completely gone. And the bones, you can see on the x-ray that the bones are starting
Mm-hmm.
to fuse together.
Hey, that sounds rough.
Yeah, I've had a back condition since I was a young person, like a teenager. Uh, my my family believed in doing hard work and physical labor.
Mm.
They
Mm-hmm.
were your typical Christians. I won't really describe them too well, but they were your typical run of the mill, everyday going people. Uh, but they believed in hard work, and so my mom and my grandfather got together. They decided they were going to give me different jobs to do, and I did a bit of farming and construction, and I helped build houses, and I did masonry.
That's pretty tough work.
Yeah, I lifted 100 pound bags of cement and rocks and wheelbarrows full of mortar all day. And I don't know if you know about labor laws, but when I was a child, nobody around me knew anything about child labor laws.
I got you.
And what happened was, is I think I herniated my spine, and it messed me up. I was working so hard, like almost pretty well 40-hour week at age 12.
Mm.
When I was 12 years
That's a
old, I
lot.
worked in masonry at 40 hours a week. And
Mm-hmm.
then later on, I got other jobs. I got jobs working in a kitchen. Uh, I did a lot of tobacco uh, under the table for farmers. And I don't know what you know about doing tobacco. Have you ever done any tobacco?
Yeah, I have.
Tobacco is pretty nasty, for one. And those bales of tobacco that they like to bail up, they can sometimes weigh anywhere between 100 and 200 pounds, especially if they're wet. And what that did to me, doing all that tobacco and stripping tobacco and bulking tobacco and farming and other stuff that I did all throughout my years, in my teenage years, yeah, I think what it did was injure my back because I suffered from back pain, and I for years I ignored the pain because I didn't realize that it wasn't normal. I thought that pain was human. I thought it was supposed to be there. But then years later, I realized that it wasn't supposed to be there. And then I let it go. And for years, I suffered with back pain, not really sure if I was having back pain or what I was having because sometimes it would get better. And then when I did physical activity, it got really bad. So, uh, all throughout my spine, I'm diagnosed with kyphosis, uh, scoliosis, and degenerative disc disease. But I believe it all started from herniation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If that's not true, I don't know what to say. It makes the most logical sense to me. But
Right.
other than that,
Were you connecting with a? Were you going to get a new orthopedic doctor last time we talked?
yeah, I have one that I'm supposed to meet with now. Finally,
Okay, when is that?
uh, it's August 25th. My first appointment. So, uh,
All right.
but yeah, this whole schizophrenia thing, I think that this is not accurate. Um, I had I had some abuse in my life, and it grew to be even larger over the years. And
Right.
I'm calling it trauma. Um, but it's multiple instances of different things that happen in my life that frightened me. Uh, and I think what's really going on is that there's multiple things, a combination of multiple things in my life that is creating these problems, or that has created these problems. And I think it's on every level. It's a society thing. It's the science of mankind. It's criminals. Uh, it's it's my own body. Uh, it's not necessarily my mental health, but it is too at the same time. But I mean, I went through a lot. I don't know if you know this, Dr. Wilder, but one of my best friends tried to kill me and another one of my best friends in a vehicle. In a vehicle. Uh, he was high. He was high on drugs one night. We were teenagers. He was high on
Math
drugs.
or something?
Huh?
Was it math that he was using or something different?
I don't know what he was on. I have no idea, but he was on alcohol and drugs. Okay, and all he knew was he was messed up. And basically, we were sitting in his driveway. He had his driver's license, and we were sitting in his little brown Toyota truck. And basically, we're talking to him and he wants to go for a ride. Well, we tell him no, that he shouldn't because he's drinking, he's on drugs, and he wants to go for a ride. And me and the other guy are sober. We weren't doing drugs or anything with the guy at the time anyway. Uh, but like he went crazy. He went crazy. We finally let him take us for a ride down the street, out in the country in a place called New Marion, and he took us for a ride down the road, and he just all of a sudden went crazy and started screaming to the top of his lungs. He started saying, "We don't need the light. We can see in the darkness." And he was screaming, and he had the vehicle floored to about 110 miles an hour. And then we reached the end of the road. It was a T in the road, and there was a big farmer's drainage ditch and a stop sign, and it was out in the middle of nowhere in the cornfield sticks, and we finally managed to get him to slow down to about 55 miles an hour. And when we reached that T in the road, he was doing somewhere around 50 miles an hour, and we hit that embankment, and the whole front of the truck was smashed in, and we two of us nearly went through the windshield. I mean, you could pick our hair out of the windshield, and the driver, the guy that did this, he tried to, or he had warped the steering wheel to the point that the steering wheel was totally warped over. And the whole front of the truck was so smashed up that the front wheel on the left side was wobbling. It was like bent. The whole frame was bent. So it took a serious impact. And we could have died that night. But that's just one of the many things that happened to me when I was young. I was also molested by my uncle, and my family was hardcore into drugs, and my family was abusive to me. My mom was abusive to me, and I also one time watched my dad beat the living hell out of my mom. Broke her leg, and she had to walk 7 miles to get help. And I've been through some serious crap all throughout my life, and I don't think schizophrenia is what you call that.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible to have PTSD from things like that, and that sounds like it could be a possibility. I mean, there are certain cases where people can have more than one diagnosis. They can have PTSD and they can have something like depression or schizophrenia, but it definitely sounds like PTSD is a possibility for you.
Yeah, that's definitely true. PTSD is. And see, how do they even go about diagnosing schizophrenia, first of all? Because when they diagnosed me, I don't think they had a real true shred of evidence. I really don't think that diagnosing schizophrenia is an easy thing. They like to play it off. They like to play it off like you can just say that somebody's behavior means they're schizophrenic, or you could say that because they can't do math real well that they're schizophrenic, and none of these things are true. I mean, behavior alone and being able to do mathematics, which are like the only tests that they ever had of me, basically, these are not good indicators of schizophrenia, in my opinion. Um, I really don't believe they have any good evidence in my case.
Yeah, I kind of hear you.
I honestly want a redetermination. Um, I've been through a lot in my life, and I'm tired of the stigma that I'm living in. Um, People are always assuming I'm somebody I don't think that I am, and
Right.
and it, I have a different disability. My my body always hurts, and I always feel fatigued, and my back always hurts, and I'm always suffering from like sleep disorders also. So like, and not to mention I have a what seems to be a metabolic problem. But my cognition is pretty normal. I mean, I can do mathematics. I have an education, and I mean, I have a complete education, but I have enough to know. But basically, I don't agree with this diagnosis, and I really haven't for years. And I think that it puts people in the wrong place. I think I think it's almost a conspiracy. It's almost a conspiracy, not quite, but almost.
Alrighty. Have you spoken to your team or your case manager about your concerns?
Oh yeah, I've spoken to several people about this. Yeah,
Okay.
she's aware that I don't believe that I'm schizophrenic. Uh,
I mean, because I hear what you're saying, and I mean, I don't know what the most accurate diagnosis is for you. I just have what's in the charge and what's been said to me. So, I mean, if you have other records, I mean, I'm happy to kind of take a look at them.
I
To
do.
me, it doesn't matter what. Yeah. And just to me personally, I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight. It doesn't matter to me what your diagnosis is. It's just a matter of me doing what I can if you feel like it's helpful to you. So, yeah, if you got some records, go ahead and bring them, and I'll certainly look through them when I can.
Yeah, I have a record from Centerstone because I tried to get married to a woman. I had a child, and that fell through for all the wrong reasons. Okay, and I don't think she was prepared to my 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 ex girlfriend was prepared to be with me and marry me, and she laid the wrong stipulations on me for marriage. So she decided to break up with me, and we were just now starting out, and my son was only a couple 2 or 3 months old, and that devastated me because at that time I ended up going to jail too later on, and I mean I became very depressed. I deal with a lot of depression in my life too, but I became very depressed uh, when I lost the ability to be with my son, and it's just I don't know. But the record comes from Centerstone when I was in Greensburg.
Okay.
Do you know about Centerstone in Greensburg?
Yes, I've heard of it before.
Okay, well they may have. I'm not sure what their record is going to state, but the doctors told the female doctor told me it sounded like that I had PTSD when I met with her and told her my story similar to what I'm telling you. Uh, so that was in 2012, and basically, I that's what I'm getting this record for, is to see what her actual opinion was. And I was only with Centerstone for a short while. So, but other than that, I don't believe they had enough evidence to prove that I was schizophrenic.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I think that the science behind collecting that evidence is more than just some basic little mind tricks, tests or whatever. Um, yeah, I think that it goes deeper, and I'm not sure that it's actually possible to show in all cases, if not any, that somebody has schizophrenia. I think that behavior alone is not a good indication of necessarily being schizophrenic, because so many other diseases mimic the conditions of schizophrenia. Like PTSD might cause a person to freak out, or I'm not sure if it makes them hear things or see things or whatever. But I mean, they basically, uh, I don't think there's enough information here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, get those records. I'll certainly look them over as soon as we get them in. In the meantime, we'll keep kind of talking about stuff, and we'll talk again at our next appointment.
Okay, could we schedule that for maybe a month from now, possibly?
If that's enough time to get the records in, yeah, that's just fine. That's really up to you, and it's really up to the folks who get the records to us. But yeah, if
Yeah,
you want to do that, that's fine with me.
yeah, it should be something to think about. I'm not totally absolutely sure that they're going to get me that record right out a month from now. Uh, you know how things are when it's getting things done. Sometimes there's delays
Of course.
and broken promises. So yeah, I'll do what I can do, but hopefully we can schedule for another month from now.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whenever they give you a call to get scheduled, just tell them that's when you want to get back on, and just see if they can get the records to us, and we'll go from there.
Okay, I'm questioning what's on this record. I want to know what's on it myself. So, uh, because if there are any lack of truths being told, I'm really going to be upset about that. So, I mean, she whoever this doctor was, I forgot her name. If she goes against anything that I believe she said, then I'm definitely going to be upset about that. But she basically told me that it sounded like I had PTSD, and I don't see how anybody could deny it, based on what I've been through. So, uh,
Right.
I mean, I just don't know how she could lie about that or say that she didn't diagnose me with PTSD, because in my mind it's obvious that I have PTSD. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, just try to get those records to us. I got to jump off here to call this 2 o'clock patient, but yeah, I appreciate you letting me know about that. Try to get the records to us, and I'll look at them, and we'll talk again next time, man.
Okay, I appreciate that.
All right. Take care of yourself, sir.
You too. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.